Alright everyone, big moment here. After a year and a half's worth of hard work, I have the first test copy of Exfil in my hands. Finally, instead of a pile of charts and notebooks, I've got a pile of cards and plastic. For real though, one of the best feelings in any creative endeavor is seeing physical progress, and I can't be thankful enough for all the love and support I've gotten. I will clarify, this is obviously not the final cut of the game. But while it is a bit rough around the edges and not all the art's 100% complete, the game is feature complete. All the mechanics, enemies, weapons, everything's here. We got a long ways to go, but this is still a pretty big milestone. I'm happy of how far we've come, and I'm excited for the future. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get right into the weapons and items in Exfil. Hey everyone, it's Max again, and today we're going to be going over the combat system in Exfil. Now, before we get into this, I want to preface this by saying, when I talk combat system, I mean purely dealing damage, defending, attacking. I'm not trying to set the standard for high action here. This isn't a game where you're going to be running from one room to the next, clearing everything that you see. You're going to be working with your teammates, making every bullet count, mitigating risk, and staying alive for as long as possible. With all that being said, I'm really excited to finally get into the weapons, items, and gadgets that you and your team have to their disposal as you make your way through the facility in Exfil. One of the first parts of setting up the game is making a loadout for your character. The types of tools and weapons include primary weapons, secondary weapons, gadgets, and items. Since we're only focused on the combat today, and even though the other card types do have a lot to do with the general gameplay, I'll only be going over the primary and secondary card types. Before we begin, here's a quick card anatomy lesson. First off, you got the name of the weapon, and then an image following that name. Down here, you have the basic instruction for using the weapon, and its special ability, often used when you roll high. Down here, you have the value of resources that need to be consumed, and the defensive value of the weapon. We won't go too much into defense, just know that it's something I'm working on. Alright, let's start with the primary weapons. Every weapon in this game is unique, and these are no exception. A similarity between weapons in the primary category is that they all have a high ammo consumption, but an equally high damage output, comparatively to their sidearms. First up is the Smart SMG. It's a light, fast-firing rifle with a scanner slapped on the front. It costs 2 ammo points to use, but you can trade one of those points for a tech point instead, distributing the resource cost. The Rebar Launcher is a piece of repurposed mining equipment that fires hot metal stakes designed to pierce rock. It's the most expensive weapon at 3 ammo points per shot, but the high damage bonus more than makes up for it. Every action game needs a shotgun, and this one's no exception. The TacMaster 12 is a classic semi-auto shotgun that costs 2 ammo per shot and boasts a damage bonus, but you deal less damage the farther out your target is, with point blank being the hardest hitting attack. Picksaw is another heavy-duty piece of repurposed mining equipment, effectively an industrial-grade chainsaw for clearing rock. It's free to use but takes up 2 of your 3 turn actions, but if you get the highest roll, you get to inflict stun on your target along with damage. Next up, let's talk about the secondary weapons, which are good backups built for utility and minimal damage output. The CS-10 is the standard pistol of the group, a tricked-out service gun that acts as a decently versatile backup, although due to it being just a regular pistol, it has a natural subtraction to its damage. Its use shines when you get to fire again on a high roll without spending a turn action. Meanwhile, the Viper Magnum is the exact opposite of the other pistol. Bulky and powerful, with rough handling. It deals high damage and an equally high chance of missing the shot. Don't treat hand-to-hand as a last resort in Exfil. The combat knife does flat damage and gives the user a free action to move away afterwards, which is great for repositioning. Speaking of hand-to-hand combat, the stun baton also deals a flat point of damage, but inflicts stun as the name suggests. This costs 1 tech point and is good for buying time so your teammates can plan their next move. So, unlike many other action games, Exfil doesn't have a dedicated combat phase. Players simply take turns spending their actions, and at the end of the round, all active enemies pursue their targets. This makes for an easy to understand system that's both versatile and fast moving. With all that being said, let me show you a couple of examples. So we have the red guy, Beta, and the green guy, Delta. Here's the situation. Beta is out of ammo and unable to attack this Spore Prowler. Delta has enough ammo to use the rebar launcher, but feasibly could only move 1 space to attack before their turn is over. So, Beta would walk into the Spore Prowler's space and use a stun baton to stun the enemy. And then Delta would move in with the rebar launcher, and since the Spore Prowler is stopped in its tracks, it won't be able to move away from the attack. Alright, here's another example. Beta is stuck between an infected guard, which has a nasty ranged attack and even worse up-close attack that'll inflict stun on him if he's hit. And then we have an infected engineer, kind of basic zombie enemy that'll just attack you if you're in the same space on its turn. And here's the thing, Beta's strapped for ammo, and he can fire the shotgun once, technically, but he doesn't want to really risk that roll because it has a possibility of not dealing enough damage in time. So what he'll do is pull out the combat knife. He'll use his first action to move into the same space as the infected engineer, and he'll use his second action to use the combat knife. Now this will give him a free action upon using it, as the card says. So he'll move again, and then he has 1 more free action. Now, when the enemy activation occurs, the infected guard will move over here, and the shot will be out of range, as its range is 2 spaces. And sure, the infected engineer could move as well, but it'd only end up adjacent. Alright everyone, that'll do it for this video. I'm gonna be honest, I'm recording this outro a few days after the rest, so just keep that in mind. It's a bit jumbled, but regardless, I hope it gets the point across. I want to thank everyone for checking this out and the continued support. Sales have been pretty decent. My Instagram finally hit 100 followers, so thank you for that. And if you're coming from there, I appreciate you even more. Now, all that being said, last thing I really want to mention, next video. It's going to cover the more technical side of the game. Item combinations, it's going to cover gadgets. It'll be pretty cool, and I hope you guys are going to be here for it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and head out. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.